YouTube, how's it going? The Godows is back. Ranking tight ends for you guys today. Top 20 in this video, top 32 for our Twitter subscribers. It'll be the same for all these position groups here. Playlist full of the ones that we've already done. More to come. Offensive tackles next. Criteria and kind of rules for my rankings, which are essentially predicting the upcoming season. All that is listed right above me on this page. Can't wait to get through this, get through the rest of the position rankings there. We'll again rank offenses, defenses, coaches as well. Can't wait for our in-season content. It's always a blast. Right around the corner, really, football season here. So live updates, a lot of extensions and signings going on. Live updates on our Twitter. So link pin in the comments for that. Anything else you're looking for, including our sponsors, including Liquid IV, code GOAT for 20% off. Other sponsors as well. Top 20 through 16 for the tight ends for this upcoming year. Got Mike Gesicki, the Patriots' new tight end, at number 20. Off year last year is because of the new system, the new coaching staff. I think he'll fit Bill O'Brien's offense pretty well. I think he'll be a pretty good target for Mac Jones. I think he'll get a lot of opportunities, a lot of targets, a lot of action there. So could even back on track to where he was before, which was better than maybe number 20. Rookie at number 19, Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills, first round pick. I will rank rookies because they will play, they will be productive this upcoming season, especially the top guys from this ridiculous tight end draft class, the rookie class here. So they will be good. They could even be much better in this because it's that good of a class. These rookies here, they're very talented. But Kincaid is a big time pick for the Buffalo Bills because he's a weapon, but because it kind of means they're changing some things up. We're going to see a lot more 12 personnel from the Buffalo Bills, which they have ran the least of in the NFL, especially last year mainly. So we'll see Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. Kincaid's got a big receiver. It's almost like they added another receiver here. So he'll be productive because he's that style of guy, that style of player, tight end. So he'll be productive. I think he kind of creates mismatches, but kind of really the new looks and the type of player he is. He kind of can create for the other big time weapons on the Buffalo Bills, but he will be productive early on. Gerald Everett at 18. They're a weapon type tight end, receiving weapon type tight end, very good after the catch. Was fun to watch with the Chargers last year. Got him at 18. Another rookie, Michael Mayer, at 17, who was my number one tight end in the class. Kincaid could possibly be more productive in terms of receiving yards because Kincaid and Mayer are a lot different. They're more, and Mayer actually could line up as a receiver out wide too. We've seen him do that at Notre Dame, but Kincaid's more of a receiver. So you almost expect him to have a little bit more stats, but Mayer is such a perfect fit in that Josh McDaniels offense. I think a really good fit for Jimmy Garoppolo specifically. They're going to get him the ball right away, and he's going to get his action. He is the guy in there. Obviously no more Darren Waller. So he is the guy. So I think it's, again, because it's such a perfect fit, I think he'll get his targets, he'll get his yards, he'll get his touchdowns too. So I think Michael Mayer, the rookie, will have a pretty big year as well. And Tyler Conklin at 16, who really got going at the end for the Jets. They schemed a lot of things open for him last year. I know it is a different offensive staff, I should say, but obviously the head coach is still, a lot of the staff is still there. I think they have big plans for Tyler Conklin, and can be even more productive now because Aaron Rodgers is in there. So another receiver-like tight end, an excellent weapon, really anywhere on the field. So I like Conklin for this upcoming year. I got him at number 16. It's kind of showing how good the tight ends are in today's NFL and how they are utilized as matchup nightmares, mismatches. We got some rookies that are going to take over this league as well, and there's already some good ones in the league. 15 through 11, Zach Ertz, maybe declining a little bit, but he's still very good. Obviously, strong hands, really good in traffic over the middle of the field. But you see him kind of dropping because he was well inside the top 10 for a while. Juwan Johnson was very impressive to me last year, and I felt like he's just getting going. Now he's got Derek Carr. I think it's a really good fit there. I like the weapons for Derek Carr type football. Not just Chris Olave for the deep ball, but I think Johnson's a good piece for that style of offense. What they're going to do. So, and Johnson was very productive with Andy Dalton last year, and again, he's just getting going. So a legit option, receiving option, especially in the red zone. So I think he could actually take another step up this year. So maybe he sneaks inside the top 10 even. Dalton Schultz, who's been productive for the Cowboys, obviously now on the Texans. And the Cowboys are a little more high-powered passing attack, so maybe that takes away some targets, some yardage, but the idea of what this Texans new staff is going to do, I think they're going to really get the ball to their tight end. Dalton Schultz, it's only on a 1-year deal, but they're going to run the ball. They're going to open up play action pass. It's kind of nice to have a tight end that can run routes, can leak out and get open. So that will mean he could be in the area of how productive he was with the Cowboys. Cole Kmet, who's kind of on the rise here at number 12, just got a big contract. Still kind of one for the future. He's still kind of getting going, but took a big step up last year. 2 years ago, had some yardage, but 0 touchdowns. You wish he was more productive in that category. It could have been coaching, kind of, things like that. But and now more weapons to kind of take some maybe receptions away from Kmet. But I think he's just getting going. I think he gets into the top 12 here. Evan Engram at 11, barely misses the cut. The top 10 was strongly considered. Was very productive for the Jags last year. Kind of saw what we thought Evan Engram was going to be. He was a little disappointing with the Giants before that, obviously. I think he can have a similar year as last year. A solid weapon, obviously in the passing game for the Jaguars. And they do add Calvin Ridley, so some reps going that way, some targets or receptions maybe going that way. But they signed Engram long-term for a reason. They think he's a valuable piece of the offense. So he'll be right around that top 10 range, but was impressed with them last year. On the top 10, let's show the first 10 through 6 first. David Njoku at number 10. I actually always thought Njoku, not right now, but before, maybe going into last year or the year before that, definitely the year before that. I don't want to say overrated because I don't know if that's really the right word. I think it's, which is almost similar, overhyped. I think people, the freakiness of David Njoku, what he's capable of, I think everyone's like, this is the year. People are already ranking him pretty high. I don't know if he really ever proved that to me. I know some people would argue with me in the past, but I liked what I saw last year. Was he like a ton more productive or anything like that? No, I guess statistically not really, but I saw just better play in general. I thought he was pretty big in some big moments to an impact player. A factor anywhere on the field, whether, in the middle of the field, outside, in the red zone, in the end zone, making a big time play. So I don't think he's been top 10. People would argue with me, but I don't think he's been top 10. I think now he's kind of getting in that conversation, should be in there this year. I got Dawson Knox at 9. I think people kind of get it mixed up a little bit, get it twisted a little bit that, they add Dalton Kincaid, who's a big-time tight end, first-round pick, so it's going to hurt Dawson Knox. What are they doing with Dawson Knox? I'd say that's false. I think that's thinking like that should not be done, because they're two totally different type of players. The Bills ran the least amount of 12 personnel, which features 2 tight ends, or has 2 tight ends in the offense. They're trying to change that. They're trying to be like, all right, we're good. Let's take this to another. Let's add more. Let's expand things. Let's try to throw teams off. Let's get even better here. Add more to our arsenal, or more to our playbook here. So Knox will be on the field like he was before. He's your traditional tight end. Dalton Kincaid is something you add with Knox if you want to run 12 personnel, and he's basically, you don't even have to run. You can keep Kincaid in and put him at a receiver if you don't want to have 2 tight ends out there. So basically like a big receiver, and then Dawson Knox, who's your traditional tight end, but he's a very good receiver as well, especially late last year. I mean, he was getting a touchdown pretty much every game. He was very productive. I felt like he was getting better, the plays he was making on the ball. It felt like, and there's always been a connection with Josh Allen, but it felt like it elevated a little bit. So that I like him in the top 10 for this year because of that. And I honestly think adding Kincaid could actually open things up for a guy like Dawson Knox. It's like, all right, we got to keep an eye on the inline tight end here in Knox, but hey, there's a big-ass tight end in the slot or outside. Who are we going to put on him? Maybe that's a little more eye-popping when you're lining up on defense. So I actually think that can open things up for Knox there. So that's why I keep talking about the Kincaid pick. Was he the best prospect in the world? He's a pretty good tight end prospect, but it's not like this elite prospect. But at the same time, he's good, and it just opens up so many scenarios for the Buffalo Bills and changes things. So that's why that pick is like sneaky impactful, if that makes sense. Pat Freiermuth of the Steelers. It's back and forth between him and Knox, 8 and 9. I think most people would rank Knox just outside the top 10, so I liked having him in the top 10. Felt pretty good about that. But Freiermuth, I got at 8. Been very impressive in his short amount of time in the NFL so far. So he's only getting better. It feels like he's getting better. He's going to take another step up this year. Still has a ton of upside. But remember, Kenny Pickett got thrown in there, obviously during the season last year. And then really himself, he didn't get going till late. And I think his best type of game is getting the ball, underneath, but, doesn't have to be like super, close to the line of scrimmage, but, specifically in the middle of the field, 5-10 yards down the field. That's kind of Kenny Pickett's best part of his game, and the tempo and ability to escape pressure. But I think having a good tight end like Freiermuth is just key to that. So I think they'll develop as they both progress because they're young upside players. I think they'll develop more and more chemistry, and therefore Pat Freiermuth gets into the top 8. So big expectations for him going forward. Darren Waller at 7. He's tough to rank. It's I guess for me, since these are predictions, I maybe risky to rank the guys that get injured, the injury prone. Do you want to call them that? Guys high. We know Darren Waller is very talented. Even though he's on the field very recently, he kind of disappeared at times, but I'm going to rank him at 7. Well, let's stay optimistic he stays healthy. He's going to have to stay healthy, though, and I've been hearing really good things from him out of Giants camp there. So Daniel Jones really likes to target Waller, basically, and is going to be featured big time in their offense. So I'm excited about that. So I will rank him at 7. I mean, he could be better than Kyle Pitts if, like, the Darren Waller is back. It's just how many games will he play, things like that. And Kyle Pitts is still getting better. Technically, it's been a little underwhelming with Pitts so far because he's kind of was known as maybe one of the best tight end prospects of all time. But having, and I don't want to just come off the wrong way. Ritter's not really. I'm not going to sit here and say he's the answer. We don't know that at all. But having like a guy at quarterback, we're like, okay, this is going to be the guy all year. We would think. I know they have Heineke in there, but I think they're comfortable in there. They're not like super confident. I won't say that Ritter's going to be the guy long term. We're not talking about that. But for this year, Ritter's the guy going in. They're going to give him a shot this whole year. So kind of had growing that chemistry and everyone on the same page. And, they're really going to be effective running the ball. It's going to open up the passing game. The tight end's usually good in that, in that type of offense as well. And Pitts is a freaky dude, only getting better. So I like Pitts at 6, maybe living up to some of those expectations. And then on to the top 5. Number 5, I have Dallas Goedert, who was a monster for the Eagles last year. He's an obvious one. It was pretty obvious who's going to be the top 5. Like, these are the top 5 tight ends right now. I know if Pitts hits that upside which he has in him, that he will at some point, then he's in the top 5 perhaps. If Darren Waller stays fully healthy all year and plays like that elite Darren Waller, then he's a top 5 type talent too. But as of right now for this year, who you feel comfortable with, you don't really have to think too much about who are the 5 guys. And I got Goddard at 5, Hockenson at 4. And Hockenson, for me, I think most people rank him at 4, maybe 5, kind of around. You don't really see him anywhere else. It's like 4 or 5. For me, he's actually closer to being in the top 3 probably than dropping from 4 because, I mean, he got into Minnesota halfway through the year last year, that trade, and he was insanely productive right away. I mean, over 900 yards. So an offseason with, that Kevin O'Connell in his second year, Kirk Cousins, offseason with these guys, and that, what is a consistent offense passing attack, so it's scary kind of to think, him with Justin Jefferson too, to think, how much production he could have, and obviously a factor all over the field as well. So I have him at 4. 2, 3 is a battle. Andrews and Kittle. Kittle in general has been better. I do think 2 years ago, so not last year, Kelsey was the tight end champ last year, and Kelsey's been the tight end champ in general for a while. But I thought 2021, I thought Mark Andrews played better than any tight end just in that specific year alone. But Kittle was pretty productive with Purdy, so that's good sign. Mark Andrews younger, getting better, but them bringing in Todd Monken, changing that offense. Defense is really not knowing what to expect. It's already a tough game plan with Lamar Jackson, how physical that Ravens offense usually is. But now you're getting more of a passing game going. You look at Todd Monken, his Georgia offense, that's how good the tight ends were, how much of a factor they were. Mark Andrews already as good as he is. I think big production. And a very talented tight end that only can get better. So that is my reasoning for Mark Andrews at 2. But I've always been a huge fan of George Kittle. And then Hockenson's got the freaky production numbers and just getting going with the Vikings too as well. There may be an extension coming soon. But you have to go Travis Kelce 1. I mean, arguably the best tight end of all time, one of the best tight ends of all time at least. I don't know if you really need to say more. Just obviously number 1 right now. But Andrews, I mean, in terms of production, like stats wise, yardage, Andrews and Hockenson could somewhat compete maybe with Kelce, I suppose. But Kelce's got the production. He's a very smart route runner, very smart player in general. Big time factor, obviously a mismatch problem. game plan nightmare. You think you have a plan to try to stop them, and you can't really do it. And that's kind of the difference between the Chiefs and the rest, and why they're so successful too. It's like, sometimes players, systems, coaches kind of get game plan for eventually, and it's you have a game plan for Mahomes and Kelsey and then Andy Reid's offense, but it doesn't mean it'll work, So that's kind of like why, that's a big reason why that offense and the Chiefs in general have been that successful. So Kelsey at number 1. So we've done quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, now tight ends. I'll do offensive tackles next, then interior offensive linemen after that, and then we'll go on to the defense. I love doing defense. I'm a defensive guy. So I can't wait to do those. And then we'll rank all offenses, all defenses, all coaches as well. There's a lot to get to before the season starts, and I cannot wait for our in-season content. It's really not long away. And when we have you guys up to date with all the news, a lot going on right now on our Twitter, so make sure you follow us there. Link pin in the comments for that. Anything else you're looking for, Twitter subs, get top 32 of these rankings and more bonus content, especially during the season. It's going to do it, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.